How you guys doing? Eric here. Today is Saturday, November 14th, 2015, and beautiful day up here in Gilpin County, Colorado. Sun is shining and temperatures are going up till probably next week. We're expecting a lot of winter weather, so enjoy this weekend. So yeah, it was a pretty slow week in the news last week. Of course, up until the end of the week, that is. I didn't know what really I was going to talk about this week as far as current events go. But boy, the week ended off in a bang, didn't it? Well, first of all, on Thursday, I think it was, they killed Jihadi Johnny, Double J, master of the hoaxer, the number 2 guy on the tag team terror champions of the world. They hit him with the airstrike and vaporized his ass, I guess. So there was no body to show us, I imagine, because Jihadi Johnny was vaporized. And of course, yesterday, the big story of the week, last night, the Paris terror attacks, right? They finally got us. ISIS finally pulled off their big attack that we've all been expecting. We didn't know when, we didn't know where it was going to happen, but last night it hit us. Wow. Hear that? That's the ice cracking. That sounded pretty cool. So yeah, big terror attack over in France. And I heard about it last night, yesterday afternoon when I was at work. They interrupted my music on the radio to let me know that there was a big attack going on in France. Big whoop-de-fucking-do, right? And of course, by the time I had gotten off work and started driving home, I got to hear our wonderful, illustrious talking turd teleprompter reading commander and thief give his little obligatory speech after anything like this happens. He comes out and tells us what we need to know as Americans, because he's our president, he's our leader, he's our fucking scumbag in chief. Wow, this ice keeps making all kinds of interesting sounds. Oh, that's a bird. So yeah, France is one of our oldest allies, and when all these things keep happening here in America, we're too used to this, and France has always stood by us. It's all too familiar to us here in America, and now it's happening to our oldest allies, blah 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 blah. And so we see the immediate results of this, or over in France. They're right away, man, what were they focusing on? Cops in the streets, military soldiers in the streets with not AKs, but AR-15s on every corner, everywhere they looked. Every single freaking news shot I saw was just endless shots of soldiers in the streets and police in the streets, freaking interrogating innocent citizens walking down the street and imposing a curfew, and that's the whole idea behind this, really. It's the next step in declaring martial law, and France is on lockdown. They made a big deal out of that, and there's there's martial law. They close the borders, and there's cops and soldiers on the streets and telling everybody to go home, and it's probably going to be a dusk till dawn curfew now for indefinitely in France. And so that's one of their agendas of this. Should I go ahead and say it? Staged, event, which has so many agendas. Like I said, it was a slow week for what was I going to talk? I knew I was going to talk about the Jihadi Johnny thing being vaporized, so that there's no body for us to see. But just trust them; they got him. But they won't get Baghdadi for a while, until they're ready to put ISIS to rest, and they'll get the leader, Baghdadi. But yeah, dingo going after that crow. So yeah, that's the big agenda behind it. Impose martial law and let the rest of the world know how much danger we're in, and be expecting. I was looking at the news this morning. Of course, the terror threat is worldwide, and there's increased security and increased alert all over the world, and we're expecting it to come to America. Yeah, we're expecting it to come to America, but probably not for a while. I think they're gonna use this event to get them through the 2016 turd puppet campaign. They give them plenty to talk about there, because the news needed something to talk about, for one. Another agenda behind it. It gives them plenty of ammunition to talk about the worldwide war on terror, which is really the worldwide governments against their own people campaign, but so they can clamp down and to take more rights away and say it's all in the name of keeping us safe from ISIS. That's what it's all about. And so it's going to start with, just like the airports, and then, they do need something to happen here in America so they can really get us used to like having Nazi checkpoints on the street like they got in France right now. That's a big part of the agenda going on. Also, another big part of the agenda is to ramp up the conflict in Syria, since that's the focus of all this, where ISIS is hanging out, and that's the hot spot on the globe where the whole thing is focused on, is Syria. So, France is going to step it up, to the next level, where I keep hearing a lot of talk about that. What's the next level going to be with France, and how are they going to react in the war on terror? And how is the United States going to, of course, the United States is going to be involved in it, in the proxy war with Russia, basically. And all these players are involved right there in Syria. Their proxy army is Russia, or our proxy army, United States, not ours, but the United States central bankers, as they're called. And their proxy armies, ISIS, that they've been propping up all along. And look at all ISIS weapons are American. They got them from Iraq. When we pulled out of Iraq, created a power vacuum, and ISIS came in and took control of all the oil, and now they're making like $3 million a day selling Iraq's oil on the black market, and blah 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 blah. And so France is gonna, obviously, we'll see in the next week, it'll be real fast, the response, and they'll be going in there and attacking ISIS on the ground, and it's all gonna boil up, man. It's just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. Russia's over there, and not a good situation, really. So, yeah, that's another big part of the agenda, I think, is ramping up the war in the Middle East. They had to, do something to bring it to the next level. This whole U.S. versus Russia thing is what's really going on. ISIS is the U.S. proxy army, and Russia's been wiping it all out, so they got to bring more players into the game, basically, is what this was another big agenda of this freaking Paris attack, and the timing of it, so yeah, those were the agendas. So speaking of the attack itself, once again, they don't show us fucking nothing. They give us all these stories, and even the footage of the soccer game, supposedly we heard a bomb go off. There's fucking cameras everywhere. You can't walk from your car to the fucking stadium into your seat without being on camera the whole fucking time. There's cameras covering every fucking square inch of everything these days. But they can't show us any actual footage of the bomb going off. And then there was a concert. What would they call that? The Eagles of Death Metal concert, I guess it was. And I guess a bunch of people died there in that attack. And there was they went in there and threw grenades at people and machine gun attacked. But once again, they can't show us any actual footage of it. Typical fucking shit, man. I'm sure there's all kinds of people there with cameras and all that, but there will be no footage of it whatsoever. Watch. We'll see nothing actual, no actual fucking, as usual with these fucking, there's these global terrorist attacks that go on, and then there's these local American anti-gun agenda attacks. And there's a lot in common with the two, is that there's never any actual footage of the shit. We never see any actual dead bodies. We never see any blood. And then we get all these crisis actors that come on afterwards and tell us what happened, and we're supposed to just buy it, right? It's almost as if they want us to know that it's bullshit, because any fucking rational thinking person, capable of critical thinking would say, hey, this is fucking bullshit. But, we're supposed to just believe it. That it did all these attacks, and all they show us on the news, as usual, is police standing around with their guns. It's the typical fucking, scenario that plays out over and over and over again, man. They just want us to get that image in our mind of soldiers and police officers standing on the streets with their guns, fucking interrogating innocent people walking down the street. Paperless, please. It's that's the main agenda of this, is to bring the war home to the innocent countries and impose their fucking Nazi regime on us. Is the whole idea of it, that and escalate the war and add credibility to their fucking war on terror, which is really the war against the population of the world. The powers that be versus the people of the world is the real fucking conflict here. It's not a war against fucking Islam and fucking the Islamic State, blah blah blah. That's just a fucking proxy bullshit to, add credibility, and it's just their boogeyman. It's fucking fascinating how this whole thing is playing out. Since 9/11 and before, it's been going on, and it's always the fucking same, And it's amazing how 15 years later they still fucking talk about 9/11, man. It's their fucking holy grail of terror attacks, that everything relates to 9/11, and it's just kind of interesting, really, how this whole thing is going to be compared with 9/11, and we're going to, for the next at least for this whole election cycle, it's going to be huge. This Paris attack. We're going to hear about Paris attack this and Paris attack that, and because of the terrorist attack, in the wake of the Paris terror attack, you know, it's going to go on, and they're going to relate it to everything, you know, and how we put boots on the ground. We're going to fly over with a big old fucking B-29 bomber and drop boots all over the ground. And so yeah, that's what's going to happen now for the whole year coming ahead of us. It's all going to be, and then, you know, because I think they're going to wait until after this election cycle to do the big attack here in the United States. The next big attack that's coming, we all know it. It's going to be another big terror attack here in the United States, and when that one happens, it's going to be the end of our what few fake fucking rights we have now. Our rights will be no longer, but we have these fucking basically ornamental rights that, you know, they that really don't mean anything now, but after this next attack, there'll be martial law, there'll be curfews, they'll come after, there'll be witch hunts, they'll come after people like me and others that talk about the, you know, what's really going on in the world, who question their fucking shit. We will be the enemies of the state, you know, and that's what's going to happen when the next terror attack hits the United States. But it won't be till Obama's out of office. Or the other scenario that a lot of people keep talking about is that Obama remains in office because maybe the terror attack happens before, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen after Obama leaves office. Interesting pattern in the ice. So yeah, fascinating turn of events happening. New breaking news in the war on terror. Paris terror attacks. What do you think, Dingo? Fucking Paris terror attacks. He's like, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. Dingo knew all along, man. Dingo knows all that shit's what's going down. So yeah, interesting to see what happens over the next week, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Look at this. It's a mother moose. Their baby over here. Little rambunctious guy running around. Here he comes. Little rambunctious baby there. I woke up I came out to head to work this morning, and I saw these two right out in front of my house. Now they're in my across the street neighbor's yard. Look, it's an eating tree. They eat trees and bark off a tree. These things, of course, an animal this huge will eat anything. Can't see the baby too well, but he's been running around just like any other little young animal, just loving life, having himself a little tree with mom. Beautiful. All right, mooses, you guys have a great day. There goes the baby. Big baby. Yeah, these moose have really become more common in the last 10 years or so. When I first started living around here, we used to see a lot of elk. I don't see too many elk anymore, but the moose have really made a comeback. All right, got to get to work. See you guys.